Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Burrell, and joining us this evening from the Royal Australian Air Force is Group Captain Grant Pinder. We extend a warm welcome to the senior executive service representatives from the Defence Intelligence Agency. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony around Australia. This evening, wreaths will be laid by visitors as well as students on behalf of the following schools. From Queensland, Our Lady of the Rosary School, Kenmore. From South Australia, St Ignatius College, Athelstone, and Prescott North Primary School, Paravista. From Victoria, Southern Cross Grammar School, Caroline Springs, Orchard Grove Primary School, Blackburn South, and Glendale Primary School, Glen Waverley. Additionally, we welcome the international group from Rotary Exchange Program. Please stand and join in singing the national anthem. Please sit if you wish to do so. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families, friends and all Australians could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the hearts of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and other operations over more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Trooper Jack Frederick James Wenford. Jack Wenford, sometimes known as Mick, was born on the 11th of April 1890, the third son of John and Minnie Wenford of Mackay, Queensland. His parents had migrated to Australia in the early 1880s, John from England and Minnie from Ireland. Jack's father worked transporting goods for a number of large companies in Mackay, and the family was well known in the district. Wenford became a fireman on the railways and served for many years in the local Light Horse Regiment. He was a prominent member of the local football club and played in intercity matches in Mackay and Charters Towers. He enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force within weeks of the outbreak of war in 1914. Unusually for someone with his military experience, he did not apply for a commission but was posted to the 2nd Light Horse Regiment, the rank of trooper. He underwent a brief period of training in Australia before being sent to Egypt to begin his overseas service. Wenford thoroughly enjoyed his time in Egypt. Many men in his regiment were also from Mackay, so Jack was surrounded by friends, which broke the drudgery of bayonet practice and route marches. He wrote chatty letters home describing donkey races and sharing cigarettes. On one occasion, he wrote that he was feeling a bit off colour one day and did not go out to drill, worn out for a ride on his mate's transport wagon. Although he was punished for this, he added that the break had been all the cure I wanted ever since I've recommended to anybody that is ill a ride with our local lad. Trooper Wenford was eager to get to the front, writing, "We hope to give a good account of ourselves in the firing line. When we'll get there is the never-ending cry of the lads." Their chance came in May 1915 when the 2nd Light Horse Regiment was sent to Gallipoli unmounted to reinforce the infantry. Arriving on the 12th of May 1915, the regiment soon made an attack on German positions near Quinn's Post, suffering around 50 casualties. One of those wounded was Trooper Wenford, who'd been struck in the thigh, probably by a Turkish bomb. He was evacuated to a hospital in Egypt where he succumbed to his wounds 6 days later. Wenford was buried in the Chatby Military and War Memorial Cemetery in Alexandria. Back home, his death was noted in the local paper. A big, daring, good-hearted Australian, it looks only like yesterday that he raced on board the boat just as the little vessel was leaving the wharf, full of rude health and patriotic ardour to take his place in the army of Britain's defenders. Wenford Street in Mackay was named in Jack's honour. He was 25 years old. His name is listed on the roll of honour on my right, among more than 60,000 Australians who died during the First World War. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Trooper Jack Frederick James Wenford, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening in the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and good evening.